Welcome to Community Cocktails with Kimberly, hosted by Kimberly Woodard, a realtor who's been selling homes in North Texas with more than 21 years of experience. Join her every first and third Wednesday of the month as she meets with top community leaders, local businesses, and real estate industry experts to help you get to know the area you want to call home. Don't just love your home, love your community. And now your host, Kimberly Woodard.
Welcome, viewers, to this episode of Community Cocktails with Kimberly. I am so excited about this episode because you guys are going to learn so much about the real estate and the current market, because I have Shana here, and she is the president of the Collin County Association of Realtors. Welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so honored.
Well, I'm
that
so
you
excited.
asked me to be here.
Well, I'm so excited. Well, Shana is not only the president, but she's also a dear friend. So I am so thrilled to have her on my show.
Yes, thank you. Same.
Well, let's talk. I mean, we have experienced such a crazy couple years market place, and obviously now the market is completely different
Yes.
than it was
Yesterday.
Yes. I know. We were talking about this earlier. And it's just, and people are, sitting at home going, what should I do? They're debating. Interest rates are obviously higher than they were in the previous market, over the last couple of years. And so they just don't know. They're like, should I wait or should I go ahead and take the plunge? So the dying question, $1 million question.
This is what and you and I both have been in the business a very long time.
Right.
And we understand that question gets asked a lot. But if you have the resources to purchase a home today, then buy the home today, right? If you don't, and you need to wait 6 months, get with a lender, understand what you need to do, and then do it when the time is right. But if you're just waiting for market conditions to change, I think that is the wrong reason to wait.
Good answer.
And you have to think, I just came back from DC, these
Yes.
NAR, legislative meetings. We're in a legislative year, so that's interesting. But it's just to hear different interest rates that have, we've seen over the years. And you have to think, like our parents had maybe 17, 18%.
Yes.
And they were so excited to buy a home. So it's really not that bad.
And so you think back in history, and the goal was always to own your own home. It was, that's what people's goals were. And I feel like now we're seeing people, interest rates are high, so maybe I shouldn't. And I should just continue paying rent and not developing equity.
Yeah. And then what do you get out of that?
Nothing.
And you're not building wealth.
Correct.
I mean, real estate is the gateway to building wealth.
It
and,
is.
We talk about in our country, the dream of home ownership. Right? The American dream is to own a home.
It is.
And, like I said earlier, if you have the resources and you can do it today, then do it. Right?
Yes, do it. And, there's so many programs out there for people that and I'll use this example. I had an offer and my clients were like, well, they're not putting 20% down. I go, but there's so many programs out there that people are trying to get a home and they don't have to. But they're qualified, at 3.5%, 5% down. So, thinking that you have to put that 20% down, no, don't feel like that's, and that's holding you up on making a purchase, because again, you're developing equity into a home, and, maybe, how things are going. I mean, in a year, you've already developed quite a bit of equity. If that house could be a 5-year house, it could be a starter house for you that then you decide that that's going to be your investment house, and you're going to end up renting it and buying something new for your permanent. So real estate has always been that safer investment.
Yes, I'm not smart enough to do stocks and bonds and all and that type of investing. So I like to have something I can see. And I think something that we've lost in translation here is real estate is meant to be a long-term investment.
Yes.
And, and I'm sure you see it too, in the current market, you'll have somebody who's been in their home maybe a year and a half.
Yep.
And they're walking away with money in their pocket. And, that's incredible. And that's kind of a product too of where we live.
Yes.
I think that we're very isolated where we are in the country, right?
Yes,
and
definitely.
Our job growth is great.
Yep.
Employment's high, and it's just such a great, everything's new around us. I mean, we're really even more isolated, but you can't take everything that you hear on the national news because it's very hyper local, and everything what happens locally is really what matters. So you have to get with a real estate professional who understands the market and to educate them on what's going on, because it's definitely not the same here as it is everywhere else across the country.
And that's an excellent point, is that we're just seeing so many, companies coming in, things going on, our jobs. I mean, we've got plenty of, jobs out there, and which is contribute to everyone coming in.
Yes.
And there was some stat that, there's 20 new cars on the road every day. Well, I sure see that.
Yes, they are. They are. And sometimes that, that is hard for us to deal with as well. We do have more cars on the road and all of that. But with everything that I heard, just last week going on in the country, we're going to have more and more people here. Yeah. So I think, I hear a lot, I'm nervous about the market, the rates and what's happening. And I just think that we're in a protected area, you know, and yes, when you have such demand as we have here, the bottom is not going to fall out. You don't have a recession in a market that still has demand. It just doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. And if you look at history with our Dallas, Metroplex, even when the country was, back in 2010, 11, when we were having some downturns, and we did have downturns, but not like the rest of the country.
Right.
Because we kept having companies coming here, establishing their headquarters. And, people love to make Dallas the home because they are in the center of the United States. So the time zone, it's easy to work. You could be doing a call with your East Coast people or your West Coast people. You're not having to, you're not far off on the times. Definitely, our commutes, you got direct flights anywhere. You can jump on a plane and be anywhere, actually anywhere in the world.
You can't. No, that's very true. And we flew in yesterday from DC, and I can't believe the growth at the airport. I mean, it looks like they're expanding even more.
Yes.
So, yeah.
No, it does. So let's talk about, we've got our Collin County area, which obviously we're seeing, so much growth, inventory down.
Okay, so the supply thing is kind of an issue, right? But we are seeing, at least buyers today have a little better chance, which I'm thankful for, and I'm sure you are too. We need it to calm down just a little bit. And, we are seeing people that were maybe on the fence before come back into the market, and because they do have more to choose from, and maybe they're not having to go above and beyond as much above list prices they were before. But, if the home is, and I don't know if you've seen this, but I've seen if the homes are turnkey ready, and, just like always, we've always had to compete with new construction because there's so much new here. But if you make your home, prepare it to be as good as a new home, it's going to sell. And it will, and we're still seeing multiple offers.
Agreed.
So
I agree with that. People want, this is their, what they're purchasing. I always say you wouldn't go to, have your, to an event not groomed. Yeah. Your house should be groomed. You want it to look and have its best size showing. And so when people are coming, think of, entertaining. Think of having a party at your house when your house is for sale and you want everyone to see your fabulous house. You're not going to have, your clothes laying around or,
your bed unmade.
Yes, everything is going to look pristine. And that's what you need to, think of, is that every time you have, you're having a showing, it's like you're having a party. And
that's a good point. I like that.
So, and I think, and I've seen where, homes are moving.
Mm-hmm.
They're moving quicker than they were before. Maybe not, overnight, but they are moving in certain price points. Some of them are, in certain price points, but some of them, are still and if you look at history and everything, it's, maybe a couple weeks, but it's moving and we're still they're getting, the prices, that they're seeking as well.
Yes.
So Collin County, as compared to the rest of our state. So, how do we fare when you're looking at Texas in a whole?
Yeah. So, we ran into, it was a local sheriff, and he was directing traffic one day, and we just talked to him, and he said, we have 75 to 100 new people moving to Collin County every day.
Yep.
And that is just
unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. And I think that, we talked to a local economist that was kind of putting it into perspective for us, and he said, even if the market dropped to back what it was in 2011.
Right.
And it dropped 20%. We're still at 2020 prices.
Yep.
So, we're still okay.
Yes.
Even if, like I said, the bottom's not going to drop out. But if it did, and something catastrophic did happen, I think we're still protected. And we were in 2011.
Yes.
We were completely different than the rest of the country.
We were,
fortunately.
Yes.
And I think that it's partly due to financing. Like where we are in Texas, you can't refinance your home at 125% like they do in California.
Right.
So there's regulations in place that protect us here too. And I think it's a wonderful place to be. I'm fortunate to be here, and I'm sure you are too.
Yes. No, I mean, once our state, here we
yes
I will say, and again, that's why I bring up, and I keep saying the point, we've got so many people coming here, and that I've even talked to people, they don't even have a job yet, they're just relocating because of the other things that our area has to offer, that I think people don't consider, and that's the schools.
Oh, yeah, that's a big driver, I think.
Our school system, if you look at the school system as a whole, all the districts are fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, if you compare it to other parts of the nation. And so that's what's driving into, people coming here is, for the education and the systems that we have, our schools, and it's just a different type of education, and they want that opportunity for their children, as well as, the affordability. Yes, I know some of y'all are shaking your heads going, what affordability on
Where
houses?
is that?
But if you look across the nation, we are still affordable. And I know there was a news story just recently saying how we're, topping on, getting high there. Yes, higher than we were, a couple years ago, but it's still an affordable place. There are definitely parts of the Metroplex where you can, a first-time home buyer can still find a home. And yes, you may have to drive a little bit, but you know what? I say it doesn't matter. Anywhere I go, I say it's 20 minutes.
It's 20 minutes.
Anywhere.
You're right.
It can be down the road. I'm like,
it is 20 minutes.
But there's, you're still going to be able to, buy that home, have that home ownership, and then start developing your wealth. You're developing equity. So then hopefully when you're ready to buy that next house, you've got your down payment.
Yeah.
You've got
right there.
You may have even more than 20% now to put down. And then like you're kind of doing that stepping stone. And I think we've kind of stepped back from that teaching. That was what I was always taught. Growing up, that you buy a home and it's your stepping stone. And then you step on to the next one, you step on to the next one, and you kind of use it as your hierarchy. Because you're developing your wealth in it.
You're building wealth. And, you know, I think back, this is kind of something that we tell our kids is when I got out of school, I couldn't live where my parents lived.
No.
But today it's almost like the kids, like, you know, guilty. Our kids are, well, I can't afford to live in our neighborhood. Well, of course not. No. But there are so many little pockets of Collin County where we are that you could go. You know, you can go to Little Elm, you can go to Anna, you can start going north, and there's these little towns that are affordable. And yes, you have to just think, you know, kind of broaden your range there and where you're looking, but there are places, and those are going to be up and coming. So at one point, you know, we live in Frisco. Frisco had, you know, I think when we moved, we lived in Plano, there were 10,000 people. Right. And, you know, thankfully we ended up buying, and it was a great purchase, and it's just going to continue to go north. So there's still tons of opportunity.
There's tons. But I remember when my parents moved to Dallas in '84, and Plano was, you know, it was small. I mean, you went to Addison for dinner.
Yes, that's how it was when I first moved here. That's funny. Yeah.
So that was where all the restaurants were. And, you know, it's no different than, you know, some of our, you know, cities that you just named. You know, I mean, if you want a little bit more, you know, in Anna, you may be going to McKinney for, you know, that dinner or something. But these cities are growing, and the more growth the more businesses are coming. So, you know, they're seeing, you know, these, and you drive up, you know, Highway 75. Every time I go, it's changed.
It's nuts, right? And I remember, you talk about Addison. I remember when the tollway ended at Frankfurt. Remember? I mean,
it was
really, like really doesn't seem that long ago. No. And recently, I was going down the tollway, and it extended past 380, and I was like, where am I? I like kind of lost track of where I even was, because now the tollway
is extending. Yeah. It'll be, before we turn around, it's going to be into Grayson County. Yep. But right now, I have to tell myself if I'm getting off at 380, because it used to end at 380 and it doesn't anymore. And I'm like, okay, exit, Kimberly, exit.
I think it's Lover's Lane or Road or something. Yes. It's like, I made the wrong terms.
I know. No, but we are just seeing so much growth. Yeah. And so, back to that point in our area, in, my viewers, y'all are, out there, kind of questioning, maybe you're still questioning, should I buy, you're sitting on, let's talk about, they're sitting on, that low interest rate. Mm-hmm. That, maybe you were lucky, you got a 3.8 interest rate, and you're like, can I, should I go up to, now it's like 6.5, what's the best decision? Let's talk about sell.
Where do I go?
Yeah. Where do I go? Mm-hmm. And, basically looking at what you're getting out of your home, how much are you going to, I'll use an example. I was speaking with someone, they'd been in their home for several years. They're going to make a nice little nest egg, by selling now. And the other thing is that for what they want to afford, those prices are just going to keep going up. Yeah. So yes, yours might, but it's going to, so maybe it's better just to go ahead and do now, get your equity out, make your step up to that new home. And guess what? There is something called refinance.
Yes. And it's still, you go from, 3 to 5. What is that?
Right.
Or 3 to 6, right now. But it's not astronomical. And, then, I don't know, buy your points down, do something.
Right.
But, if you want to move.
Yes.
Move, just transfer to
Right.
another property and continue to build your wealth.
Definitely. And, I know this is going to sound cliche, but life's too short. Go
I
ahead,
agree.
do it now, make that purchase, make that transition, get it, I hate to say this word, but, get it while it's hot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
So,
that's the truth.
but-
Yes, get it while it's hot. And it is now. And, there's market conditions change all
Right.
the time.
Yes.
And literally week to week, we see market conditions change. But what doesn't change is what real estate does for people.
Right.
It again, I know we keep preaching this, but it builds generally
It builds
generational wealth.
It
And
does.
if you don't buy, then you're wasting your money and you're throwing it out the window.
You are. I mean, you are basically taking your money, put it down flush it in the toilet and hit
And
flush.
if you're okay with that, then
Yes.
it's fine. But I don't think many people are.
No. Develop that, equity and develop that, growth for your own personal equity. And if this, that's why we always say real estate is people's typically largest investment.
Yeah.
And so, not everyone, again, we'll go back to the, stock markets and, not everyone invests that way. But
it's scary.
It is scary, and that's where you see the down. All of a sudden, you've lost all this money in one day.
Yeah.
And so, if you want a safe gamble, let's just use that as a safe gamble. Real estate, because even in that down, your equity is always going to be there. You're building that. So just don't look at I always think it's so funny when you're signing your papers and you look at your loan terms and it says, you'll be free and clear by.
Yeah. The amortization schedule, you just want to shove it
you're
to
like,
the side.
Yes.
But yeah,
No.
it is kind of scary. But,
Hey,
most people don't stay in their home for 30 years.
Most, our average, and that's, good. A point is either your average around here 5 to 7.
Yeah.
It's, so right
I
now
say that, Kimberly, but I've seen 1 to 2. Like,
yes, that's
what?
true.
Yeah.
That is true. Now, well, with our appreciation.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And maybe we don't see that ongoing.
Right.
Maybe we don't. I mean, those were very unique circumstances.
Definitely.
And we do have to remember that it is a long-term investment.
Right.
But you're still building something.
You are.
You're building wealth.
You are. You're building the wealth, and again, there's so many different places that, you can go here that we're fortunate for people to be able to. So let's just, kind of compare again here compared to what we're seeing, and you're hearing from the national, from other states, how they're weathering right now times.
Well, affordability is a huge issue.
Yeah.
And something big that we heard that actually just got proposed at the national level is to create. So I think one of the struggles that we do see here, we see it across the country, but we really see it here is keeping up with new construction.
Yeah.
It's the new construction market, and you're struggling with labor and materials.
Right.
And at the national level, that was recognized, and they're creating and wanting to work with legislators to create an apprenticeship to get more people into that trade.
Yes.
Right? These trades, that's what the problem is, and it's driving the costs up. So if you take a step back and you educate and you bring a friend.
Right. Yes, definitely.
And we need more labor workers.
Yeah.
And, you think about those are so many jobs that are created.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, that is another way to, I would say, is a great career path is, sometimes college isn't for everybody,
Right.
and sometimes it is, and you still want to do something like that. And
Right.
it's great. So I love that they're going to, work on a program like that to get more people in. But yeah, across the country, affordability and the new construction, but it's just so much more expensive everywhere else. And, their lending guidelines, like I said, like refinancing up to 125%. How do they even allow that to happen?
Yeah.
So I think we're very isolated where we live compared to other parts of the country for sure. And I think it's great.
I love, I love that we are isolated.
I do too.
That's what I love about it. And I love to see our growth. And what's fun about our growth is, and we were kind of talking about it, is that we have seen such changes and we continue. I mean, just over the last 6 months, I mean, when you're driving, you're seeing, roads, and that's one thing that I think our Metroplex has done such a fantastic. I know you drivers are like on there, complaining about, I mean, I know I cringe every time I get down 635 and 380. So there we go. But the fortunate thing is that we are doing that. You go through other states and you don't see that. You don't see the expansions in the road. We're always maintaining and always making things better for all these people coming into our area.
Yes.
And so I think that's the other reason our Metroplex just keeps growing and growing, is that we have established that infrastructure and continue that infrastructure so that it allows, it invites these companies and, people from other parts of not just the country, but the world.
Yes, the world,
to come and pick the DFW area as their new home.
Plus, we have so much entertainment. Like we have the Star, and we have now the PGA, and we have, we have so much excitement around here. All major sports.
Oh gosh,
everything that you could want is here.
You've got everything. I would say the only thing that we lack is, yes, we do not have an ocean.
We don't have an ocean, but we can get there pretty quick, right?
Yes.
And enjoy it and then come
it's just a plane ride. And so, but we have everything else. I mean, the shopping, people come here for the fabulous shopping we had. People don't realize that Dallas is actually a big fashion market here. Everyone thinks of New York and thinks of LA, but Dallas is a huge fashion market as well. So all those things, we are just, we kind of, if you think about it, we kind of V in. We're at the point of the V.
Yeah.
But again, it just keeps, so the point here is, if you're sitting on the fence, you're thinking, maybe the market is going to, downturn or is going to cool down in Dallas. Think again.
Might. Well, it hopefully it does. It is cooling down, but it's not like
we're not dropping. We're not dropping.
Right.
So it's it's the time to reconsider. This is, if you were sitting, maybe last year you were nervous, which I understand. Last year was a little bit of a different market. But we also talked about if we're fortunate and we start to see interest rates maybe drop a little, it's just going to speed it up. And guess what? More people are going to be out there, and then prices are going to go up. So buy now.
And if you have saved and you have any type of down payment and you're able to do it, with banks even.
Right.
I would rather put my money into real estate. So,
well, on that point,
call Kimberly and she'll educate you on why you should invest today.
Well, with that point, cheers. And let's, buying in 2003. Or 2023. Oh my gosh, she's going back. Whoa.
We haven't had one sip yet.
Yes. So it's buy now in 2023.
Yes. Thank you, Kimberly.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple and Spotify, as well as Kimberly's YouTube channel. If you'd like to contact Kimberly directly, you can email her at kimberlywoodard@ebby.com or call 214-632-2092. We hope you enjoyed our guest this week. And remember, don't just love your home, love your community.